Gemar Chatima Tova. It is curious. We join together and read a machzor, a modified siddur, a modified prayer book that has been edited over the last 3,000 years. Selections coming all the way back from the Torah itself, throughout the Mishnaic and Talmudic period into the Gaonim of Babylon, on through the amazing poetry of the Middle Ages in both the Middle Eastern as well as European world, and including up to the modern day, many reflections meant to what? That's the curious part. Is it doing its job anymore? Is the machzor actually achieving the impact that it is meant to achieve? Yes, certain parts are very scripted. Apchet and ashamnu, we confess our transgressions. Those, I think at least most of us can relate to. But those are meant to be the capstone moments. Those are meant to be the moments that we are working up to. That's not the entirety of the machzor. In fact, most of the machzor is trying to prepare us to be able to engage in both that, as well as the Amidah, and of course our Torah reading, with the proper emotion. And the proper emotion, the focus of so much of the liturgy, is summed up in a word that is hard to have in English: yirah, awe, fear. And quite frankly, we don't have enough awe or fear in our lives. We're not good at it anymore. It used to be anything would impress us, but we are jaded. We are complacent with every new thing that we are thrown at on social media, every novelty, every trend, every viral video. There is nothing left to surprise us because we are being saturated with it, and now by things that don't even exist, on a daily, if not hourly basis. So how does the machzor work? Can it help us reach that sense of awe? Would we be better off, perhaps, of just leaving the machzor mostly untouched and moving the entire congregation to the edge of the Grand Canyon? Right? We could daven there. My spirit could be free. I could experience awe standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon. Maybe a little fear as well. And then I would understand, look at this amazing structure. Look at this craftsmanship in God's world. Look at how small I am next to it. Look at how insignificant my life seems next to the millions of years needed to carve this amazing geological structure. And look, in each layer you can see, generation after generation, untold, almost impossible for us to count, the different creatures that have lived, the different systems of nature that have flowed through this area. That would give us awe, because it would teach us humility. We would see how small we are compared to the millions of years in front of us, and compared to the hundreds of feet of drop, compared to the thousands of tons of ground that has been relentlessly carved by the Colorado River. Or perhaps you're more of a beach person, and you would rather feel that while standing at the edge of the shore, watching the waves coming crashing in, hopefully in a storm. I'm still a little bit of a snob and think the Pacific is better than the Atlantic, but the Atlantic might do, but maybe not. Maybe it would be better if we just could always schedule a thunderstorm. Those are pretty common here in Orlando. Allow the rain to come lashing down, the lightning bolts to shatter the heaven, the thunder to shake the very buildings around us. Buildings that we think are grand look like playthings next to the natural forces that surround us. That humbles us. That gives us that sense of awe. The machzor tries. You have to applaud it. It does try. But the main way that it tries to get us to sense that awe is partly by encapsulating these ideas, reminding us of the creation around us, reminding us of the timelessness of the world. But it is expecting us to make a leap of understanding that I'm not sure all of us make. You see, when we stand next to the Grand Canyon and we stare at its seemingly timelessness, we are meant to feel more in common with the canyon than with God. When we see the amazing power of a thunderstorm, of a hurricane even, we are meant to feel that we and the hurricane are on the same scale, but God isn't. When we consider the enormity of our entire planet, when we consider the millions of years, the billions of years that our solar system has existed, we are meant to feel more at home there than in the company of God. All of the universe is in awe because God is that which is fundamentally distinct from everything that has been created. As we reflect on God's creation, we recognize that everything we have ever seen, everything we have ever known is but a blip within a blip compared to the eternity of God, which transcends time and space in ways that our minds cannot comprehend. When we make that connection, then we can begin to experience the awe and humility that is needed to engage in the confession and in the opening up of ourselves. Now, humility is not being ashamed. Humility is not being embarrassed. Humility is not thinking you are worthless. Those are unfortunate cultural ideas that have been attached to us because we have inhabited many foreign spaces over the last few thousand years. Humility is meant to put us in proper perspective, to recognize just what we are. And if you properly put that in perspective, that is to say, if you engage in the research, or at least the amateur study of the world around us, our place within it, if you recognize how incredibly small we are and how powerless we are compared to this world, if you embrace the beauty of the world that we cannot come close to recreating, if you embrace the complexity of the world, from the molecular all the way to the cosmic, then you can begin to understand your true place in the universe. You're dirt. But that's okay. You see, the trembling awe that we have in encountering God is not meant to make us so ashamed that we crawl away like some primordial ooze, which we share a lot in common with. It is meant to make us recognize that as we are but dirt, we can be refashioned. We can be reshaped. We can change. We are not some timeless angel that is stuck being exactly the way we are. We are easily reshaped, more easily shaped than that canyon, more easily shaped than our solar system. We can change each and every day, willfully, choosing to do so. By recognizing our true place, we recognize our true potential. But the Machzor doesn't stop there, because it recognizes that there is still a human conceit that blocks us from truly understanding what it is we are capable of doing and how we are capable of living in this life. And so the Machzor will repeatedly, in this comparison of timelessness between us and God, remind us, sometimes subtly, sometimes, like Unatana Tokef, hitting us over the head, that we're going to die. We are not timeless. It's easy to say that I'm much younger than the Grand Canyon, but eventually the Grand Canyon will be gone, and a lot sooner, so will I. And that realization, that recognition of our own mortality, of our own fragility, that we exist almost with the same fragility as a soap bubble floating through the world, that is meant to give us our final push towards awe and understanding, humility and transformation. But it's also meant to give us a peek into our true potential. Because it's easy to become nihilistic, to think, oh, well, if I'm only here for a few years and that's nothing in the grand scheme of things, then what does it matter what I do? If I am just a soap bubble, then let me pop and I'll do what I want in the meantime. And so we must recognize, as the Machzor reminds us, that while we are limited in our time, while we are so finite as to almost beggar belief, we are simultaneously eternal. That we have been given a neshama, a nefesh, a ruach. We have been given a spirit within us that is made of that which God is made, of a timelessness beyond time, of an existence beyond space. And that when our time has run its course in this world, our soul will continue indelibly shaped by its experiences here. And so what we do here matters for all time. It is what we will carry into Olam Haba, the world to come. It is how we will reflect. Now, don't imagine that you're going to sit around on a cloud looking through a photo album of your life. That is for cartoons. Instead, imagine your soul having been shaped by its experiences here and its choices, the good ones and the bad ones, that when we pass from this world into the next, that all of the lies, all of the deceit, all of the stories we have told ourselves to make our own decisions seem plausible, all of those that are wrong will fall away, and all of those that will be proved right will shine out in the light of the next existence. That we will no longer be cut off from the surety of God's truth. We will know everything. There is no time, there is no space. If we are connected to all, then we will know everything. We will understand precisely why we did what we did when it confused us so, when we hurt someone that we loved, when we recoiled from someone who reached out to us. We'll understand finally why we did it and why they did it and what it meant to them that we did what it did. And our soul will cry out in joy when we realized that little gesture of kindness I gave that person changed their life, and I didn't know it. And that insult I gave to that person changed their life, and I didn't care. And our soul will weep for the damage that it has caused, and it will sing for all the good that it has accomplished. And we will know. We will understand. But the Master is not just telling us this as something to look forward to. Yes, we believe in Olam Haba. We don't talk about the world to come all that often. We are very much focused on here and now. And the Machzor is, of course, a Jewish book, and so it is focused on here and now. Understand, it is telling us that you will be part of eternity unshaded, the veil removed, your soul ungagged, in order for it to cry and sing as it will without all of the barriers, without all of the crud that we use to keep ourselves from fully experiencing this world and each other in the light of God's truth, that will come, but you can have a measure of that here. You don't have to wait. You don't have to lament, woe is me, if only I understood better. If only I could understand God's truth, then I would be a better person. I could be happier. Olam haba, in the world to come, it'll all be good. In the meantime, I'll suffer. No. The Master says, you know what is good. You have been told what is good. Not good in a moral sense that will make you suffer but make you act like a saint, but what is good for you, that will enrich your life. If you want to know what the other person is thinking, God has given us a magic trick. It's called talk to them. Don't assume. Don't think, he's probably really mad at me because of what I did. I guess I probably shouldn't call. You know, that friend that I used to be friends with 20 years ago and I haven't talked to ever since we had that fight, he doesn't want to hear from me. What? You know? You've been gifted with the gift of prophecy. You've already tapped into Olam Haba and you can see what is in the heart of everyone else. No, you haven't. The only way you can find out is by going, by asking, by calling, by email, texting. We have 1,000 forms of communication and we use so few of them for when it really matters. The awe is there to shake us from our complacency. to help us rise up and recognize, yes, that Grand Canyon is there, and it is going to be destroyed someday when our entire world is destroyed. Yes, I am here, and one day I too will pass on as all mortal things do. And in the meantime, I will marvel at its beauty and craftsmanship and the wonders that it makes me feel. And I will use that as a channel to understand God and as a channel to understand that what I am doing here matters as much as that canyon. And so I will do my best. And I will not make assumptions. I won't guess at what made the canyon. I'll study it. I'll research it. I'll be even more impressed the more I learn. And I will not guess what is in the heart of someone else. I will tell them what I am feeling, and I will listen to them when they tell me what is in their heart. I will be straight. I will be clear. I will be honest. What's the worst that can happen? They get angry at me? Better for them to be happy with me while I am telling them a lie than for them to be angry with me for telling them the truth. I'm not saying be a jerk. Too many people try to say, oh, I'm blunt as an introduction for what is an insult. This is not about insulting someone. This is about telling them what is in your heart. And telling them because you want them to understand you. And recognizing that sooner or later, when we have all left this plane of existence, they're going to know anyway. It's all going to catch up. When you stand at the foot of God's throne, they're going to be there. And they're going to say, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me what I meant to you or what it meant when I did this to you? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you listen to me? Why didn't I listen to you? This is hell. Imagining all the elements of your life once you have left this world that could have been better if you had just listened and spoken. Our lives are not some sitcom made up of happy misunderstandings because no one let anyone finish a sentence and no one bothered to listen to the end of a conversation, or they walked into the room having not heard the beginning or left before they heard the end. Yeah, that's great for TV. It's actually not, but it certainly fills up the space in between the commercials. But our life is not the space between commercials. And we should not rely upon a laugh track to somehow make sense of all of the mistakes that we make simply because we can't bring ourselves to be honest with those around us. But why not? If you are but dust, if you are but dust, why not? The world will not collapse around you. The world will not come to an end if you simply speak from your heart. The people around you will love you more, or perhaps they won't, but it'll be okay. The little things that we fret about that seem so big, in the grand scheme of things, they're not. The little crimes we commit, the little things, the pettiness that we have towards one another, how is that worth it? To help my bit of dust get a little bit more dusty? The awe of Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, is meant to shake us from our sense of superiority, which is grounded in our lack of understanding our true greatness. We think we are great because we're alive, we're clever monkeys, we can run around and do all these amazing things. We can stare at our phones 24/7 and somehow call ourselves the masters of the world. That is not our greatness. The Yamim Noraim tries so hard to help us understand our true greatness as being connected to God's eternity and recognizing the limitations of this world, which frees us from the shackles that keep us from living the life we could, which allow us to be burdened with all of the social norms which cripple us rather than embracing the righteousness that God has explained. And day after day, that's how we live, year after year. Yamim Noraim come, these days of awe, to try and shake us free. Let the machzor grab you and shake you about. Let it tell you how little you are and how little you understand, and yet how important you are. Let it shake the truth from your heart in conversation with God so that when you leave this room, you will speak in truth to those around you, and you will listen to their truth as well. This is what the awe is meant to inspire. Not groveling at the foot of God for forgiveness for crimes we don't even really understand, but to understand truly our place in this universe so that we can be the incredible creatures we are meant to be, called into being by God, to embrace the gift of the soul that we have been given, and to use it as the guiding star of our lives. With that, I will wish you a Gemar Chatima Tova and a meaningful continuation of Yom Kippur. You have been here at the beginning. Come back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Carry on through the day. I don't leave the building. You don't have to either. All the way up until the locking of the gates, till Ne'ilah. Then, when we go into breakfast, you will have no idea how sweet it will be. Not just the food. To stand amongst your community, your family, your friends, to stand as one of the shining people of the world. And the world will stretch out in front of you. The new year is yours. Gemar Chatima Tova.